Welcome to Africa Speaks. I'm Pamela Anchang. I would like to welcome to Africa Speaks the fascinating visionary, founder, and director of the Garifuna International Indigenous Film Festival, Freda Sideroff. A formidable custodian of heritage, Freda is on a mission to preserve the ancestral African connection of the Garifuna people through this unique film festival. Known to have a deep spiritual connection with Mother Africa, Freda Sideroff is here to share how her roots have impacted her life and why it's important to preserve that heritage. So stay tuned for an exciting conversation with Freda Sideroff. Wow, Freda, so glad to have you on Africa Speaks.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It almost feels like you transported or we transported Mother Africa into this home.
What do you think?
I feel that way. I feel that way with you because who would have told me that I would leave Africa to come here and find this connection thanks to you?
Home spirit.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You know what? Tell us a little bit about your origins and how you came to be so connected with this ancestral heritage.
That's like getting to the point, right?
Just get to it.
Feeling for that place to speak from. It's very important. You know that when it comes to where we find ourselves, that it's a journey. There's the process of knowing or having the awareness of where you are. And then there's also not being present with the awareness that you are on a journey. And so for me at this time of my life, I am being a witness to my transformation. I am not claiming to be anything that I am not. I must testify to that, and that I am speaking of my individual personal journey. This journey, though we may think is just of self, it is about witnessing how it is possible to be present with you and to connect, to witness my transformation with my relationship with individuals that I would refer to as friends, family, and the development of new relationships with individuals who we find ourselves connecting with in a way that you cannot even begin to imagine, such as, for example, when in my network of relationships, when we say, the ancestors have brought you to me, and then what messages do you then share with me? In terms of like simple conversations, what do you have to share with me that makes me grow?
That's very profound.
So that's a part of where I am witnessing myself as I'm being. I want to sit with you to be able to hear what your heart speaks. I want to sit with you and hear how your heart sings. This, for me, is the deliciousness in the growth that I want to communicate and share, that would allow somewhat you as a witness to be able to be transported.
And I'm so honored to be here, and I'm sure the ancestors have agreed for us to be sitting here.
Well, because we are. We're here. We're here now.
Because we are. So tell me about your journey from when you were born in a nutshell and how you came to be in the United States and doing all these great things.
Mm-hmm. So you know what? It's I have never actually sat down to speak of, for example, of the experiences of my childhood.
Right.
And whew,
Let's start from where you were born.
so one of the things that I can share. To are you speaking of from here or my rebirth?
From here.
So it was at the age of, let me say that it was probably, I was probably like maybe about 7 months old, thereabout, when I may have first had my traveling experiences. And it was that I was traveling with my grandfather and my aunt, along with many elders. This was at a time when transportation was perhaps difficult. So imagine me as an infant or toddler going from one hand to another with elders traveling by foot.
Where was this?
So it was in the country of Belize.
That's where you're from.
That's where I was born.
Okay.
And that I just shared with you was not only was it shared with me, but I also had experiences of that journey. And it was, apparently they had traveled on the night of a full moon. And so imagine the impact of what that was for me, who had no voice, but imagining that it was perhaps the first of my initiation.
Into what?
Into myself, into becoming.
Yeah.
You know, and so including perhaps some of the experiences that we have that sometimes makes us uncomfortable to be able to speak of, but they're conversations that when the time comes to be able to share that part of yourself, that it brings forth healing.
Absolutely. Do you feel in any way that you're special? And when I say special, like you have a gift for something.
My gift is in the way in which I witness myself. And it is in the work that I do. It's in the witness for holding a sacred place, for example, for the film festival, and the way in which the pieces are gifted to me in order to be able to then present it.
Right. And
so for me, it's the beauty of the guidance that when it's gifted to you how it's meant to be, then all I have to do is to listen.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel that this gift is connected in any way to your African ancestry?
Most definitely.
How does that come to you?
That I would often say, you know what, we cannot run away from who we're meant to become, and that irregardless of where we were born, that we existed before time. And it's this is very powerful for me that I'm having this conversation with you, because it's also the process of my the stories in my documentary that I'm working on, and Africa is in my blood. The spirituality of Africa is in my blood, and so it's not by chance that I am supporting youths in Africa right now to be able to support making a difference. Like how can I not?
Does it cross your mind that you were chosen to be that connection from here? We're in the United States, and you're from Belize. You know, many Africans in the motherland are not aware that there are people like you who feel that connection. Like, does it cross your mind that, wow, you were chosen for this?
I want to say that I'm chosen, but I am not more special than anyone else.
Right.
The same way how I am gifted a vision, it's the same way how each and every one of us are gifted with something special, with something important. There's whether or not that if you're, for example, imagine your name being called and you not hearing it.
Wow. So, you are Garifuna.
I am Garifuna,
founder of the Garifuna International Indigenous Film Festival. Let's start from the beginning. Who are the Garifuna people?
The Garinago, plural, are, how do I put this? So as a Garifuna, I would say that my ancestors were West Africans who intermarried with Amerindian, who are indigenous South Americans. You know, so it could be like in South America, we have the Carib Indians, we have the Arawaks, and we have the indigenous people known to us as Kalinago. And so Africa, imagine looking at me, or me looking at myself and not being able to say that I am African. Or that I have African ancestry.
How did your people find themselves in this indigenous land?
So let's go back.
Let's go back.
First of all, we came before Columbus. We existed before the arrival of Columbus. So that's important to say, but it doesn't change that some of us may have arrived during the slave trade. Those pieces are very important to mention, because there is so much confusion in wanting to claim that. That some of us didn't arrive during the slave trade, and that we existed in the Caribbean before the time of Columbus. And then how are we? I'll start ranting, and that some of us were that our bloodline goes back to like the Olmecs. Including, for example, I just had an interview with this amazing individual in Belize for my project, Dr. Aranda. And the conversation that I needed to understand was, how did we arrive into the Americas? And the conversation was focused on the time before Columbus, as well as before the slave trade. I think we would need more than a historian who thinks that they know the subject matter to be able to then have a conversation about it, because even those of us who would say that my ancestors weren't enslaved.
I was going to ask, were your ancestors enslaved?
So my ancestors wasn't enslaved. The Garifuna language, culture, and everything connected to our identity is preserved. So we must thank the British for exiling my ancestors, because the gift and the blessing of that exile, though painful, gifted to us the blessing of the preservation of our language, culture, and a way of life, unlike our brothers and sisters who weren't exiled because they were perhaps more yellow. So the darker you are, the more infected and affected. And it didn't help that the voice as well as tone of my ancestors was rebellious, and their refusal to support their enslavement was instrumental in why they were exiled.
So what is the story about a shipwreck from Africa on one of the slave ships?
Well,
and the dispersing of the survivors.
So again, it's one of those that brought confusion to my understanding.
Okay.
Which is why it felt important to me to be able to delve deeper in speaking to others, to be able to understand the story. So so you'll see this across the board in my documentary, where someone says this and then the other person says that. So allowing for the opportunity to be able to hear the different voices converse about the topic of the shipwreck in the Caribbean, and then individuals swimming ashore. Somewhere, somehow, there's a truth to be some truth to be told.
Yeah.
But I do not have the answers to that.
Okay, so no problem, because America,
It's
for
complicated.
example, is complicated. And America, people came to America for many reasons and for different places. So it's possible also that maybe the shipwreck story is true. Maybe the before Columbus is true. So there are many sides to it for sure.
Well, before Columbus is true.
Yes.
Because one, when you go into like the Americas, you see the pyramids. So the pyramids that we refer to as built or belonging to, for example, like the Mayan pyramids, it becomes complicated that if your face or my face is on the pyramid, and then you who claims that it's yours, so but our branding is on it, then
we need to check your
then we need to check our stories.
Yes, yes.
And it becomes complicated when we ourselves doesn't have the answers to be able to say that this is how it is, or not. But I can say that when I was first told, Andrea and Sister Sharon, when I first heard that the temples that are referred to as the Mayan temples, that they weren't Mayan temples and that they're ours, was from the ancestors. And so that didn't come as a second-hand story to me. It was given to me as direct information.
Wow.
And I was standing in my kitchen while that message was being relayed directly.
From the ancestors.
Yes.
So that is verified.
With Andrea as the scribe I'm taking notes, and Andrea was taking notes and I was taking notes. They said, you know what, write it down.
So did you update this information with, let's say, the archives?
Well, you know what?
Historical archives?
That in itself is an entirely different story.
Okay.
That in itself is an entirely different story. So it will be in sharings such as this. It will be in sharings like in my documentary project, that when we begin the process of sharing the stories, that when you go to a place like Shinantonich, I visited Shinantonich as a youth, and at the base of Shinantonich is the carving or the branding of an individual who looks like us.
Who is Shinantonich?
Shinantonich is a Mayan site in the country of Belize.
Okay, I'll be sure to visit
On
it.
the foundation of Shinantonich is the branding of an African, someone with African features on the foundation.
Before Columbus. All right. Enough
Yeah.
said.
Before Columbus,
Yes.
but it isn't the only one. Mm-hmm. There are other sites referred to as Mayan sites with the branding of Africa.
So, Freda, are we concluding then that indigenous people were also of African descent?
Well, you know what? Yes.
That's what we're saying.
Yes. Well,
That's
it would be, for example, like, so I was recently in New Zealand with the Maoris, visiting with the Maoris. Of African blood. You know, you go to Fiji, you go to Tahiti, you go to Hawaii, the French Polynesia, the Marquesas Island, and these individuals, they look like me. This is not a conversation where someone else shared this with me. I intentionally took images of myself in the presence of these individuals, to be able to tell to be able to show the pattern, to be able to show the
like a
trait.
testimony.
Yes, and when you hear the Maori speak, they would say, I think they have they mention a relationship with Taiwan, with Taiwan. So there's Asia. In my DNA, there's Northern Asia showed up. Benin, the Congo, Togo, as well as Cameroon.
Welcome home.
And so when I say Benin,
Yes.
then I take ownership of
Yes.
my queenship.
Absolutely. Your Royal Highness. And by the way, you look very royal today.
Well,
very regal.
Well,
you look
thank
beautiful.
I feel it in my spirit.
Yeah, no, you do. You certainly do. The
I-
gold, it's working.
I feel it
It's
in my
working.
spirit.
So this outfit that you're wearing is a Garifuna.
It's, you know what? It's a Garifuna design, and it's a little bit more dressier than because of the occasion. So I
course.
thought I'd be festive. This attire, it's a blouse and skirt. It was designed, along with the scarf, was designed by Marva Alvarez, who's from the country of Belize. And this is one of the attires that was designed for our Garifuna International
It's beautiful.
fashion presentation.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
where are Garifuna people spread across?
So we find them in the country of Urume. Urume is the original name of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. So this is where my ancestors were exiled from. Urume, you'll find us in Cuba, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, and here in Topanga. Well, in California, all over the U.S. There's a large population of Garinago in New York, in Chicago, Los Angeles.
It's awesome. Well, we're right here now in
Yes.
Topanga Canyon, right?
Yes,
we
we
started
are.
another
Yes, we are.
heritage.
Yes, for
so let's
sure.
talk about your preservation of this culture, which you do so well year after year. The International Indigenous Film Festival, the Garifuna Festival. What motivated you to create this festival? What's its mission?
Again, the motivation for the film festival is the guidance, the voices of my ancestors saying that it's time, and here is the name, and here's the date, and need not worry or concern yourself on the who and the what, that everyone will be brought together and guided to partake in in the ceremony.
When did you get the calling the first time to do this festival?
This was like 9 years ago. 9 years ago, I heard that clear voice, Garifuna Film Festival.
And you answered, or were you panicked?
No, it's yeah, it's it comes like that.
Right.
So it fills your being with the awareness that this is it. But of course, how can I not ask, like, where is this coming from?
Wow. And what was the intent? Why did they want you to do this?
To support the preservation of Garifuna.
Why?
All aspects: to preserve culture, to preserve language, to support us coming together as a group, to have we're more stronger when united.
Oh.
And this is it's urgent that we speak as one voice, as one voice.
That's very interesting, because that the Garigunagu are spread so far and wide. It makes sense. And do you feel a responsibility to do this, and how do you intend to pass this on?
So the responsibility that I feel is isn't complicated. I listen and do the best that I can with what's gifted to me, and come from that place with then delivering the best of me, or what is offered to me, to the table. I will invite you. I will invite others to be able to come, like to the breaking of bread, like to the offering, like it's Thanksgiving. And if it's time for you and you hear the calling, then you'll come. And so it's so no one is forced to come before it's time. It's the same for whether you're an artist. We'll invite our recording artists. We will invite, if you're a performer, if you're an artist, if you're a filmmaker, that you'll come when it's time. And a part of what it is that we're doing as well is planting the seeds, instilling in our youth, instilling in our people that it's possible to be able to create films. It's important that we tell our own stories so that others do not take privilege in telling our stories. We see them, it makes us uncomfortable, and then we often say that isn't the truth. So if it isn't the truth, then what then becomes our responsibility to saying that this is how we want it said, this is how we want it told, and then we become the title holders to our own documents.
You said it. So what is unique about about the GIIFF, the Garifuna International Indigenous Festival?
So I would want to say is it's all of the deliciousness that sort of like it's like a gumbo.
I love
right?
it.
So there's world music. Music that from all of our indigenous cultures. We have food. We have our art exhibition. We have, look at how beautiful you are, goddess.
I like the word goddess.
That when we come with ownership of, with pride of who we are, then from the languages that you hear, and those who come from different parts of the world to represent their culture, to use our platform. To me, that is what's special and unique, that it's not just about me, that it is about us.
Absolutely. I know you've said that it comes to you how and when to do it. Is there a season though? If someone wanted to submit a film, how would they go about it? What would the process be?
So we use on our website, on the GarifunaFilmFestival.com site. It's a place where you're able to go to submit, but we use the formatting of Film Freeway, and the formatting for Film Freeway, we're able to receive submissions from all over the world. And so even though I'm guilty of this, of not necessarily promoting that we're currently accepting submissions, that we're continuously receiving, like almost like all year long, we're receiving submissions. And the only time that we're not receiving submissions would be like in the probably in the months leading up to the film festival. So from like March, like March is when the submission period ends. And so April, May, and then June would be our down period working on the film festival and screening.
Okay. Wow, wow, wow. This is just amazing. Do you consider yourself a priestess?
I do not consider myself.
Have you been called one before?
No.
No?
Does that sound like a lie? Well, you know
It's
what?
strange.
It's hilarious. I think a part of what it is that I encounter most often is there's something interesting about you. I cannot put my finger,
my finger.
On it, but
Yeah, there's something about you. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, so it's like
Yes.
like that. But no, I am not. I wouldn't consider myself as a priestess. There's how. First of all, I am not dressed like this. Every day.
No, of course not.
But and don't feel that I have to. There are times when I find myself probably like wearing like my white linens and stuff like that, and it's for me that's comfort clothes. But there's how it is that I live my life on a daily basis, and deep silence is important to me.
Is that when the messages come?
It comes often.
Anytime.
It can come at any time, which so back the silence for me is very important because of course it serves as a window, and including my relationships are affected by the journey.
How?
You know, like when you look, like when you're a child, there's how it is that you everybody is your friend, and when you find yourself going through a sacred or spiritual journey, everyone cannot be your friend. And when that is said out loud, it creates discomfort. Because it's not meant with disrespect. It simply means that if silence is sacred to me, then it means that even if we are here, that it's okay to simply be in stillness or with stillness.
Have you encountered any other person that has a gift like yours? Because I'm saying this because back home in Africa, we meet a lot of people who have that special gift. Some are honored and respected, and those who are honored and respected, you can tell because it's natural. To me, what you're explaining is nothing strange.
No.
But out here, people don't know that there are people who are gifted with spirituality or higher level of connection, So I'm wondering, have you encountered anybody else who has your gift and is maybe, doesn't know how to handle it?
Well, then the beauty in the journey is that you're guided to be able to be within a sisterhood that lifts you. And so when no one else doesn't know or no one doesn't understand, then it will be those individuals who, without saying, will call to be able to check in, sister, how are you doing? Because they are present with the awareness, because you're a community. And so sometimes what is said here stays here. That's that kind of a community that will hold your journey sacred.
There's a solidarity.
Yes, but it's not about holding a secret. But if it is that I am sharing with you, or if there's something that is important to be shared with you, then I will call to be able to say, you know what? Okay, this is what it is that I am in touch with. And then it's not for you to give me a response, but then it will be that you will find peace or solace in receiving a message that it's like, how, how did you know that?
Why?
Or if you are at peace in just knowing that Freda is in her element or simplicity, then you'll say like wow.
That's
And so these are experiences that it's not fully loaded, but to be able to be a vessel like I am with the work that I'm doing for the film festival, it's important to be able to have individuals who you refer to as allies, who will show up for you. And that is the kind of power that brings peace. And then Sharon and Andrea would say, you know what, there's no explanation or words to be able to know that there is nothing that I need outside of just knowing that God exists here with and within us.
Yeah. I see you get emotional from time to time.
Well, it's because I know that I am not alone.
Okay.
I know that I am not alone. And I know that there are individuals who have been placed in my journey to be able to allow me to, who are a blessing to me. So I don't take any of it for granted.
It's a beautiful journey.
Including this moment.
Including this moment, my sister. I'm so honored. I want to just tell you that you're Mama Africa.
Mm.
And I say that because you were born on this side. I was born on the other side. But here we are. What can you tell children of African descent about how we're supposed to uplift each other and why that's important with the work you do?
Be true to yourselves. Be true to yourselves. Irregardless of the demonization of your cultures, hold on to it. Hold on to your medicines. Hold on to your wisdoms. Because you are the future, the wisdom keepers of tomorrow.
When was the last time you went to Mama Africa?
I existed there yesterday, tomorrow, and in the future. So the time is yet coming for me to be able to say that that I'll be visiting. But I'm looking forward to possibly a year from now to journey to Africa, because work is taking place. The seeds are being planted.
Absolutely. And they will be happy to receive you. I can assure you that, because a lot of us here are actually being revived by you.
By you.
Thank you. You
And the
said
work
it.
that you're doing.
Thank you.
It's very important, along with Charles.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a part of this journey.
Indeed.
And stay beautiful. And the gift that you have You wear it so well.
Oh, thank you.
And it was a big responsibility, but I guess you were chosen for a reason.
Yes, and you are chosen for a reason.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is Africa Speaks. I'm Pamela Anchang. See you next time.